Portugal's Duoro River Valley is unique, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's where all the world's port wine is produced, grown on cascading terraces that date back to the 1300s. Among the companies producing there, Symington Family Estates stands out. They bottle some of the world's most famous port wines while grappling with the reality of climate change. And as we found out, doing all of that while farming on the edge, literally. The Portuguese named it the River of Gold. But it's these vineyards built into steep slopes and the port wine they produce that has given the Douro River Valley its wealth.
Without terracing, these hills are too steep, really, for cultivating the vine.
And for the Symington family, it's not just a passion, it's a centuries-old business.
Hey, go!
How many of you work in the business in the family?
So currently there's 3 of the 4th generation, and we're 6 of the 5th generation.
Siblings Charlotte and Rob Symington are part of that next generation.
Those of us who work now in the family business are all descended from one of those 3 sons.
They are carrying on a family tradition that started in 1882, when their great-great-grandfather, Andrew Symington, landed in Portugal from Scotland. Since then, Symington Family Estates has become the largest producer of high-quality port wines in the world, owning marquee brands like Dow's and Graham's, the official port of choice for the late Queen Elizabeth II. Many family businesses don't make it this long.
Yeah.
How does it work?
We've been very lucky, to be honest. We make it work between generations. We all bring our different strengths to the business.
I think the Symingtons are known for working extremely hard and being quite diplomatic with each other.
Really?
So, yeah, we're Anglo-Portuguese, so, we've been here so long. But there's this sort of British pragmatism that we bring to this.
It's that British pragmatism that started the port trade in the 1600s. Constant war with France led merchants to Portugal, where they added brandy to red wine to help it survive the journey back to England. The wine was called port, after the nearby city of Porto, where it was stored, aged, and shipped. So I get the impression that in the world of wine, size matters. Today, the aging process is done pretty much the same way. Large oak barrels are stacked to the ceiling at the Graham's Port Lodge, where the wine will sometimes sit for decades before being bottled and sold.
So this is 10, 20, 30-year-old ports aging slowly in barrel, slow oxidation through the wood. These are some of the most special ports in the world because only time can do this work. There are no shortcuts.
This is some of the oldest we have.
That passage of time is on display in the family's personal cellar, where priceless bottles dating back a century or more wait patiently to be opened.
So this is like the family jewels. Like, we're never going to sell this stuff. This is either for super special occasions or to be handed on to the next generation.
Was that the alarm? And they're surprisingly well guarded. The Symingtons admit port tends to be a luxury drink, and the average drinker closer in age to our grandparents. But they say tastes are changing.
Porto's booming from a tourism perspective, so we get a much younger calibre of people coming through here. It's funny because people come around and be like, oh, I don't really like port. And we're like, oh, try a chilled glass of 20-year-old tawny. And the immediate reaction is always, oh, I didn't know port tasted like that.
We decided to take our own taste test. 4 different types, from the traditional...
So should we start with the white?
Let's start with the white. ...to a modern white port. I would imagine, though, that would go big to a younger crowd.
Exactly. One of our biggest challenges is respecting our past, respecting port's heritage and tradition, but bringing port into the 21st century. And, with something like this, we've been able to do that.
Another challenge? Making sure their business can survive a warming climate.
These are vines that struggle and produce fantastic wines as a result, but there is a limit, so beyond which you start to suffer in terms of quality. Fortunately, we're not at that limit yet, but we're seeing some warning signs.
The Douro Valley saw a record high of 117 degrees this summer.
The effects of all that extreme heat can be seen right here, with dried up leaves and grapes literally dying on the vine. Some growers say that's caused their yields to be cut by half. How are you adapting?
And one of the main initiatives is planting 2 grape variety libraries in different parts of the valley. And we think we've identified at least 3 which have the potential to be scaled up as the climate continues to go against us.
When we visited back in August, workers had just begun harvesting this year's crop the same way they've done for hundreds of years, by hand. The only issue, the harvest started a month early. A changing climate that Rob says has them farming on the edge.
We need to use our voices to say, hey, unless we turn this thing around, by the time our kids are our age, this thing might not be viable.
I mean, do you really see the possible end of this business?
The forecasts are not positive. If motivation to protect the things that we love is not enough in all aspects of people's livelihoods and all around the world, what are we doing? Because we're asleep at the wheel.
Asleep at the wheel. You know, it's a business, a family business that's lasted well over 200 years. They're doing everything in their power to ensure that they conserve water, that they, terrace the right way. They're a great family. I really enjoyed my time with them, and they showed me something I didn't expect. I didn't expect to love port wine.
Oh.
This is white.
This is Graham's blend number 5.
While you guys take a sip, it is a joining of generations to the benefit of both. Up next, the unlikely place they decided to put a preschool and the remarkable effect it is having. Welcome back. I get to sip now.
Yeah, you don't like port.
So I'm like she said in the piece, I don't really like port. So let me see.
So this is a port
straw?
cocktail. No, this is a port cocktail.
That's a cocktail. Okay.
This is
I like this.
port and tonic.
There you go.
They don't
That's
really
probably why
sell
the
this
tonic makes it sweet.
in the United States, but I told them, I said, I never had white port before. And with a tonic, it tastes just so refreshing.
It is very refreshing.
Can I ask you a question? How concerned
I don't know.
were you that you were going to drop the bottle of 18?
That you were trying to steal as the alarm was
bottle
going
that's
off.
worth $50,000 or whatever.
Because what,
Because
Jeffrey,
you picked it up confidently.
You do know I'm somewhat of a butterfingers, don't you? I don't know. I just trusted that I could do it.
But wait, Michelle, what does
Good.
this white port taste like without the tonic in it? That's what I wanted to know. I really did want to taste it. I
it's
feel
a
like taking the
sweet
bottle,
white,
but I
it's
won't.
a sweet white wine. It's a little, of a thicker consistency, but
Yeah.
it's quite refreshing. Just, I'm not a red port person. I'm big on white port now. I mean, I never knew it existed before this story. I order it.
All right.
When I see it on the menu.
Nice.
And I say, put some tonic in there and then a sprig of mint and
Drink secrets from Michelle, our
Basil.
bartender
Tonic
for the
and
day.
sprig.